Thank you very much. And now I'd like to ask the applicant and agents to please come forward and make their submissions. And I should remind everyone who's planning on speaking tonight to please ensure that you speak into the microphone so that everyone in the room can hear you as clearly as possible. And if I could have your name and address, sir, for the record.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr.
I think you could pull that right back towards you, Mr. Hunt. Oh, and just try giving that a tap to see if that's okay. That looks good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Lord Mayor, members of committee and council. My name is Greg Hine with the Quartet Group and part of the project team. Other members with me this evening are Michael Allen and Ken Kruk, who are an integral part of the land use design of this site. The owners, Gary Peterson and Doug Fowler, are present tonight. And we like to start off by making a request to committee that we be given an opportunity at the end of the meeting to answer any questions that the council may have and to clear up any misinformation that may come forward. Right off the start, Mr. Chairman, we reviewed the planning report done by your staff. We agree with the analysis and the recommendations to go forward with both applications that we have before you. As you know, we have two land use applications before you, one an official plan amendment, one a zoning bylaw. The official plan amendment is outlined by your staff, certainly identifies what this amendment does in regards to implementing the Niagara-on-the-Lake comprehensive document, the regional policy plan, the provincial policy statement, and the growth plan for the greater Baltimore portion. The community benefits that have arrived or derived from this OPA approval, there's a real community benefit in this regard, and that's we will achieve, the county will achieve, a Part 4 designation, protection of environmental resources on the property, preservation of the boundary against the interface of 1 Mile Creek, and for the first time, public access to the site. The zoning amendment we have before you, we think, after our analysis of the draft document, certainly provides solid controls for the implementation of our development. It also provides regulations to protect the surrounding properties and provides increased building setbacks to protect the vegetative buffers and mitigate any impacts on the surrounding land use. It provides regulations to control building height and the massing of new development. And it provides for sound vehicular access on John Street and within the site. The community benefits that we see flowing from our application and from the recommendations in the planning report is that the Art and Learning Center studio facilities provides an important element to the Niagara-on-the-Lake experience for both the residents and the tourists. It stimulates creative activity in other sectors of the economy. It's open to the public for the first time, as I've indicated. We will be able to protect, under a Part 4 designation, not only the existing buildings, but the new buildings and all the land surrounding the site. We think it stabilizes the neighborhood with the use that is viable and neighborhood sensitive. It's a sound employment-based and critical component to the tourism market in Niagara. It will provide 250 full-time jobs in the hospitality business. It will provide 50 part-time jobs over and above the 250 full-time. It will induce 15,700 new visitors into Niagara-on-the-Lake because of the unique programming. It contributes $113.5 million into the Niagara GDP through on and offset spending. It provides $10 million in labor income, and it will increase the property tax base by $352,500. These numbers, Mr. Chairman, were provided by PKF, now Pure First Foster, a hospitality company that we had take a look at not only the market need study for this site, but also a business plan for the owners. It's been a driving force and has sort of framed our applications before you. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I said at the beginning, but I don't intend to repeat our presentation. You have a very, very thorough planning report before you. And we know that there are three main uses on this site, three different uses, all integral to each for the viability of each. But I'd like to take the remainder of the time I do have to provide clarification of some of the public issues that have surfaced in letters to you, and to calls to you, and calls to our office, and what we've been able to glean from the variety of public meetings, workshops, and focus groups that we've been involved in. Number one, the Dunnington Rub landscape. This is a landscape that's not protected today. There is no heritage designation on this unique landscape design. And in fact, it has been destroyed by a third with an access that goes directly through one-third of the Dunnington Rub central access design. With this application before you, Mr. Chairman, we will designate, recognize, and protect the Dunnington Rub landscape. The 1 Mile Creek Protection Area. Everybody assumes that 1 Mile Creek running through our property is protected. It isn't protected. It's designated established residential. And with this application, we will protect it with an environmental protection designation so that we can restore this creek in this area, because today it does not function in our south direction as a creek, but a drain for the residential surrounding land uses that impact or abut this critical 1 Mile Creek area. It's indicated that we'll be removing existing trees on site, or a majority of the trees. During the windstorm in 2011, we lost between 35 and 40 trees on site. There's a replanting program underway to restore many of those losses, number one. Number two, the development covering only 12% of this total land area results in the removal of between 6 and 12 trees on the total site. With that in mind, we will be replanting or relocating those trees in our tree planting strategy, in our work with Mr. John Hawley in landscape design will provide to the town. The adequacy of the neighborhood analysis that you have in our submission. Mr. Chairman, we think it's a very inclusive, adequate analysis. It goes to the extent of analyzing the neighborhood that's within walking distance of this site, not just at the interface, but within walking distance, and that's half a kilometer. Within that half a kilometer, we have Riverbend, Pillar of the Post, the Commons, Fort George, residential units impacting our site, but it's a real mixed use of institutional commercial uses within that neighborhood. We analyze the impact on those uses, we analyze the impact the uses would have on our site, and we made the recommendation based on that neighborhood analysis. We were very fortunate in having a 10-foot high fence or wall in front of us that mitigated any impacts we have on the Commons or on John Street. And we were fortunate to have a wall on Charlotte Street which mitigated the impacts. And very, very fortunate to have a vegetative buffer completely surrounding this site at the interface of all the uses I talked about. The transparency of the public process was another issue that surfaced by the owner-developer. We've made this process very transparent. I'm in year 6 on this. The project team is in year 4, and we're in year 2 with the application. We had a number of focus groups. We had neighborhood meetings. We had 2 public meetings now with the municipality. We had 2 public information meetings. We met with hoteliers, we met with other people in the community to get feedback, and we think this has been one of the most transparent processes that we've been involved in regards to this application. We're very proud of the transparency of this whole process. And we have to acknowledge your staff for involving us in this part of it. With respect to surrounding land use, Charlotte Street, we heard this at the last public meeting, and we've seen the letters. On Charlotte Street, we've respected this street by doing 2 or 3 things. Number 1, retaining the wall that exists there. Number 2, not providing any access onto Charlotte Street whatsoever. I think if you take a look at any large development, they try to impact streets that abut the property to disperse traffic and to ease traffic in and out. We've protected that situation. No traffic onto Charlotte Street. And we did have a residential designation abutting Charlotte Street. In our application, we've removed that. We removed the total residential designation abutting Charlotte Street and replaced it with an environmental protection designation. The other issue that has surfaced is spot zoning that isn't indicative of sound land use planning. Spot zoning, especially in Niagara-on-the-Lake, is very indicative of a very modern approach and a very diligent approach to getting a mixed-use development included in Niagara-on-the-Lake. For instance, if we were to take a look at the heritage values that Niagara-on-the-Lake has, we would probably be zoning each and every property within this municipality on an individual property basis and on a spot zoning basis. Your official plan, Mr. Chairman, says there's an eclectic mix of residential housing in Niagara, different sizes, different lot sizes, and the only way to take a look, not the only way, but one of the better ways to take a look at doing development in this community is to do it by block by block, property by property. That is a spot zoning type of process. It's one the municipality has always endorsed. It's included in your official plan, and we are implementing that official plan. The setback changes at the interface is another issue I'd like to address, and that is what really did ask us to invest in the first place, the changes we've made. At the north interface, Mr. Chairman, along the John Street interface, we've made sure we retain the wall. There will be no new opening save except the restoration of the one that existed in the early 1900s. We're restoring that opening using the original gates, and that opening will be restored. We're separated. The separation of access points is critical to sound, pedestrian, vehicle movements by separating the two. And your fire chief has taken a look at this for emergency vehicle purposes only. He wants new gates on this, not sort of knockdown gates to get his fire trucks in or other emergency vehicles in a very efficient fashion. We intend to certainly do that and retain all the vegetation from the Dennington Road landscape on the north interface. The east interface, we are protecting the existing vegetation along here, even with our building addition. It is offset from the large vegetated strip that exists there. The setback is approximately 4.75 meters to the property line. The south interface, the buildings are being pulled back as a result of the public response we had to our walkabouts.